So, this material is digging into the media coverage of Scott Adams right after his death, arguing that outlets like Variety and People prioritized controversy over legacy, signaling a real decline in journalistic standards. And a key theme I see running through this is this comparison between old school obituary standards and today's, hyper-polarized media. That contrast feels really strong.
It does. But, the first thing that jumped out is that the core argument about the decline of journalistic standards, it gets a little weakened because it pivots maybe a bit too quickly into this broader commentary on political hatred.
Okay.
The discussion sort of shifts back and forth between the specific failures of, say, People and Variety, the poor writing, the ethics of it all, and then this wider frustration with, online toxicity.
The blue sky comments, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And so the listener is left wondering, wait, is the critique about professional journalistic standards, or is it about the whole culture of political dehumanization?
Right. Separating the cause, that societal polarization, from the actual professional lapse.
That's the key distinction.
So, should the material even mention the societal stuff? Does drawing that cleaner line just make the professional critique stronger?
I think it does. We'd suggest drawing that sharp line. So if the main point is journalistic failure, then you dedicate a specific section to that. You separate the media's ethical lapse from the, quote, insane societal issue.
Okay, so give me an example.
Well, when you bring up Variety's first sentence, Scott Adams, who became controversial, or that disgraced creator headline, you frame those strictly as a breach of professional protocol.
The old rule of lead with what they were best known for.
Precisely. And then when you talk about the hyperpolarization, making us less than human, you define that explicitly as the societal context. It's the driving force that these outlets are exploiting for clickbait. You're not treating it as a parallel problem, but as the cause.
Got it. That tightens the focus right onto media responsibility.
Yeah.
So moving on, the most powerful evidence here for me was the comparison piece, especially bringing up O.J. Simpson. That's a high-stakes contrast.
It is. And that's our second point. Using high-stakes evidence like the O.J. example, it really needs tighter analytical framing to get the maximum impact.
How so?
Well, comparing Adams's headlines to Simpson's, who got a fair headline, is provocative. It works. But the piece also acknowledges that Simpson, definitely did something far more severe.
Right, a lot more severe than a political comment.
Exactly. And if you're not careful with the framing, you might subtly equate Adams's ideological cancellation with a huge, universally known criminal event. And that actually works against the intent of the piece, which is to highlight political bias.
So it's not just about who got a fair headline. It's not how the media traditionally sequenced the information about him. It's the chronology of it.
You've nailed it. That's the key. Use the Simpson example not just as a contrast, but as a model of how major controversy used to be handled.
Okay.
So you could state explicitly why it was fairer. You'd say something like, the Simpson headline shows that traditional media prioritized a universally recognized professional status, sports star, actor, before getting to the criminal controversy.
Whereas with Adams,
the ideological controversy was prioritized before his professional achievement, sometimes even within the description. And that contrast just immediately highlights the media's current bias. It's ideological policing over historical legacy.
I see. That's a much sharper way to put it. Okay, and the last point, as I understand it, hinges on the idea that this whole media critique should stand on its own regardless of anyone's personal politics.
Yeah, and this is more about the delivery. The material's persuasive power gets a little diluted when the speakers frequently inject their personal feelings about the politics involved.
Politics, or saying Adams said some things that I disagree with.
Those are the ones. The intention is good. It's to signal objectivity. But when they're repeated, they actually become these little rhetorical speed bumps.
Yeah. They kind of pull you out of the objective analysis right when you're building momentum.
It's like you're losing focus on the destination, which is the media ethics critique.
So what's the fix? Just cut them out?
Our suggestion is to just consolidate, make a single clear declaration right at the start. Something like, we're going to set aside our personal agreement or disagreement with the politics here to focus purely on the appropriateness of the media's immediate response.
Get it out of the way once.
Exactly. Establish that political neutrality one time, and then you can just move directly from the facts, the People headline, the Variety sentence, straight into the structural analysis of why it's bad journalism. It actually strengthens the credibility because you're showing mastery over the facts, not just constantly signaling your political position.
That's great advice. Okay, let's do a quick run through of the 3 most critical takeaways for the author.
Sure. So first, draw that clean line between the critique of journalistic standards and the broader issue of societal polarization.
Right, separate the professional lapse from its cause.
Second, sharpen the O.J. Simpson comparison. Focus on contrasting how the media handles criminal infamy versus politically charged cancellation.
It's all about the sequence. Legacy first or ideology first.
Exactly. And finally, just tighten up the structure by minimizing those repetitive political disclaimers. State your neutrality once, and then maintain that laser focus on media ethics.
Perfect. These steps should make the argument more robust, logical, and really focused on the most important takeaways about media responsibility. We invite you to implement these suggestions and, of course, send your revised work back to us for another critique.